Take us back now, Richard, to 80s New York when Page Six really ruled the roost, right? I mean, everybody wanted to be in Page Six.
When it was back on Page Six.
But it was back on Page Six. And how aggressive were you guys as reporters then? Or was the old system still in place where the publicists went out and in order to get hits in your column would just feed you all the good stuff?
I think that there were fewer outlets for gossip in those days, and so we sort of became a clearinghouse, and a lot of this, it's sort of just spread out now, and there's so many different magazines and some bloggers and TV shows, and so I think it was sort of easier in a way because we were one of the few people who were doing it. Mm-hmm. But I think we were aggressive compared to most news outlets. I mean, you know, a lot of people just weren't doing what we were doing. Because we were like, I think one of the first columns where we were actually reporting, like we hear a tip and then aggressively call people up and try to track it down. Whereas a lot of gossip columns where they just hear a rumor and print it, you know, if it's not too libelous, they'll just throw it in there. This is what I hear.
Well, because in the old days, I mean, my experience with gossip column writing was watching Sweet Smell of Success, which is a movie I think has been a profound impact on our lives. And if you've seen that movie, you see the press agents, they send all the tips. And the deal, George, it always seemed to me, back in the days when newspapers really had all the power, was that if you want to be in the George Rush column, if you want your client in the George Rush column, the entry fee is a little bit of dirt about somebody else. Mm-hmm. Is that not the way the game worked?
Yes, so it is written. So it should be. That traditionally was the kind of trade-off. I mean, we're not relying exclusively on publicists. You know, there were always agents and lawyers and chauffeurs and private eyes and so on. But if you know, consumers of gossip columns probably read these incredibly lame items about somebody having dinner at the old homestead or something, and wonder why are they putting that in, and it's because it's been a trade for something good that you probably enjoyed.
It's just a constant struggle with editors because when you try to get your payback item in and say, this is lame, and they cut it out and say, wait a minute.
That item we had last Friday, which you love, is there because we're giving the payback to the other person. Right. These are not really sort of Columbia rules of journalism.
They're not, no, they don't teach a course in celebrity journalism, and I've, for a long time, lobbied them to teach a course on not just celebrity, but entertainment journalism generally.
Well, they don't offer any Pulitzers for it either.
They sure don't. They sure don't. What's interesting about the celebrity ecosystem now, as I've seen it change, is that there's less of that kind of tit for tat going on now that celebrities can release all of their own information on Twitter and their Tumblr, and they have this direct communication with their fans. They don't necessarily need the favors from the gossip columns or the celebrity magazines the way that they used to. And so the spigot has been turned off a little bit when it comes to that pay for play.
So when the spigot is turned off like that, George, how do we survive now? How do we gossip columnists, when James Franco can go on his own Twitter account, and it's not something that we've dug up, it's not something that we have taken the time to report, it's not as much fun, it seems to me.
Yeah.
It is for us.
No, I think, first of all, you know, I am a recovering gossip columnist, having tried to go through rehab. But what I see is that we are all gossip columnists now, and everybody has the means of production for, you know, entertaining their followers through the device in their hand. And the only reason I think that it behooves gossip consumers to still read Richard's fine column is because he's a pro. He has networks of sources that you don't have. he can get people on the phone that you can't get and check out things that, and so it's not like there isn't a lot more competition than there once was, but there is still, I think, a pleasure in knowing that the information you're reading might be true. It's now you can say anything about anyone, and you know, just the outrageousness of certain places is gratifying, but not as gratifying as, no, it's actually, you can take to the bank.